Multiple demands are made on professional curricula from many different directions, such as professional bodies and the labour market. Now, the challenges of the 21st century, particularly in an emerging and developing economy such as South Africa, mean that professional education needs to change if the practitioners of the future are going to address these major challenges. By the time Suellen Shay was beginning to research curriculum structures, around 15 years after the official end of apartheid, it was clear that we may have been enabling physical access to students previously denied opportunities in tertiary education, but we were not enabling what Wally Morrow termed epistemological access to STEM fields in particular. As academic developers in the STEM space, in this paper, Chris Winberg and I, Karen Wolff, draw on Shay's work around professional vocational curricula to address the research question: how do we establish a principled and knowledge-informed basis for curricular decision-making? We trace the evolution of analytical tools which help to better conceptualize what it is that vocational and professional qualifications have in common, as well as what differentiates them. Our starting point was the SANTED project, in which Shay and colleagues develop a framework to differentiate between kinds of qualification pathways. Here you see that professional and vocational curricula are both recontextualized as drawing on what Maton calls worldly knowledge practices. Quadrant 3, in other words, strongly contextual and dense. The empirical example, journalism, in her 2012 paper, refines what it is that Quadrant 3 is about: relative degrees and different weightings within the two different curriculum pathways, the diploma versus the degree, of the same field. This work builds on Joe Miller's 2009 conceptualization. The continuum distinguishes between both conceptual, contextual, and principled procedural knowledge in different relative configurations. The 2014 paper then takes this recontextualization further. Using the legitimation code theory semantic plane again, Shay attempts to expose the different epistemic codes and bases of legitimation. A curriculum where the primary logic is, for example, graduate attributes, sees specialist knowledge backgrounded and generic dispositions, qualities, or attributes foregrounded, what Maton calls a knower code. Another alternative is where proceduralized knowledge privileges context-specific skills for practice. Shay draws on Bernstein to talk about regions and the pressures on curriculum to face outwards as a result of market-driven forces. She reminds us that this is a global trend, which, a la Bernstein, is neither a good or bad thing. The question is, in whose interest? This is a key point in understanding the different professional qualification pathways, particularly in a country where a degree is seen as more prestigious than a diploma, but where the Sustainable Development Goals and national challenges require far greater numbers of technicians, in other words diplomates, than engineers. Shay's work has helped us to develop a better understanding of vocational and professional knowledge practices, which she points out are related but are not the same. Her work with Diane Stein to describe the nuanced development of expertise in a vocational design context helps to conceptualize this complexity behind the theory-practice relationship. In her 2016 publication on our collaborative project looking at extended curriculum program structures, the complexity in this regionalized quadrant becomes even more explicit. What we do in the full paper is to trace the ways in which we jointly and separately have used and extended these concepts so carefully built by Suellen, so as to develop a more nuanced understanding of differentiation and continuity in technical and professional education.